Hey Chocofucks, it's me. Not what. It's me, what's it called? Dark Raikou. This is what if Issei had three brothers and had abilities. Now, of course, whatever I kinda did change the title just because fuck it. But yeah. Of course, this what's it called wording, I'm gonna change it later, but yeah. For right now, I actually wanted to continue off where I last left it off. And she also mentioned that I'm still kind of sick. My voice might sound a little bit different from the last two recordings I did, but yeah. But that's just because I was coughing like hell. But not the point. Let me begin this just what if, and let me shut the fuck up. And if I do start coughing a lot, then I might not be able to record anymore. I would just say I'm done, and I would just end it off there at whatever part, and then I will go off and go fucking sleep and try to heal my sickness. Also, I realized I have to drink coffee for this shit to go away. But yeah, I don't know how to make coffee, and I'm not going to the store to go buy coffee. Yeah, I'm too lazy. But other than that, let me go back into the what if, and yeah. See, I'm already starting to cough, but yeah. So, other than that, let me begin to the what if. Let me shut the fuck up, and yeah. So, we go on to where Issei was kind of, questioned by Sanji. Sanji says, "So, why do you have that?" Issei says, "Because I can." This is where everyone realized that yes, Issei has that kind of like bandages in his eyes. Then again, he did kind of went crazy in the battle between Loki. Now Loki is pretty damn hurt, really damn hurt, too damn hurt to even realize that maybe he can't start Ragnarok because he feels like he's going to die because every time he regens his magic, it just suddenly just drops back to half. Yes, he still has the scarring of the slash of the anti-magic sword. This is where, when he has that slash, it's going to always cut down his magic in half because you can't really get rid of the anti-magic because it was infected with anti-magic. Pretty much, Issei's, mostly the person who took control of Issei managed to kind of, fuck them up. But yeah. Now, this is where, let me go back into water, but yeah. This is where, Issei is just saying, so we're going? This is where, Ria's little cousin, nephew, whatever, basically her oldest brother's son, is kind of saying, are you really having to go, Rias? No. This is where, they have to go, and yeah. This is where, they go back to, the human world, of course, where, Issei, he is kind of being healed by, what's it called? Asui in her, mostly his eyes, just to see if they're actually fully healed. This is where, Issei says, yeah, I think I'm fine. Can you get out? This is where, Asui kind of says, oh, okay. Or Asi, whatever her name is, mostly Asian or something like that. This is where she gets out, and this is where Issei, he takes off his, what's it called, bandages and looks into his eyes. His eyes, the most bluish color there ever is. No longer brown, no longer is able to be brown again. His hair was also starting to change. He realized that. His hair is starting, not really change right now, but for some reason he has an odd feeling that his hair might change also. If his eyes already changed, maybe his hair is also going to change. This is where, he looked into his eyes, and of course when he kind of sees them in the reflection, he already knows what they're called. Six eyes. That's what it's called. This is where, he says six eyes. The eyes to see everything. Also the eyes to be able to copy anything. Damn, that's broken. How do I know this? What the? This is where Issei decides to look at a math problem. Because, yes, they're still having to do, like, homework and all that shit. This is where Issei looks at the math problems. And this is where he actually understands all of them. He actually knows what all of them are. This is where he wants to keep testing his eyes, but they start hurting a little bit more. This is where, he decides to just grab something from his, what's it called, drawer, and that was just, like, dark shade of glasses. This is where, Akana kind of opens his door and says, hey, Issei, are you finished all your homework? This is where Issei says, oh yeah, I'm just done. This is where, Akana says, why are you wearing dark shades? That's just because my eyes starting kind of hurting from the light. I'm gonna have to ask Asui about, well, killing my eyes again. Let's see where, well, Akana says, oh, okay. So, Issei, I want you to go on a date with me. Let's see where, well, Issei goes, dot, 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 dot. What? This is where, Akana says, yeah. So, I will meet up with you later. This is where, well, we go into Issei kind of like sitting kind of near that one place where he got the sword, the Dragon Slayer sword, but yeah. So what Issei kind of wears is a white shirt underneath his like dark hoodie. This is where he's also wearing kind of like black pants and just black shoes. This is where, well, he's waiting for Akka to come, and Akka shows up in this like nice dress and all that. This is where, well, Issei looks away because he almost had a blood nose, but yeah. This is where, well, he says that probably would have been bad. And this is where, well, Akka is kind of like having fun with Issei on their little date and other things. And this is where, well, Issei is saying, yeah, that's cool. And this is where, well, Akka is just very happy, friendly with Issei and other things. This is where, well, Issei, for some reason, he's actually having fun, but for some reason, he feels a little saddened. A little saddened. Just a little bit. This is where, well, when they kind of go on with their still date, this is where, well, the others are kind of spying spying on them, and this is where, well, he says, don't look now, but they're kind of spying on us. This is where Akka says, oh yeah, let's get away from them. This is where she runs, well, mostly, she runs with Issei, and they're kind of brought towards mostly, I think they're love hotels, if I remember if I can remember right, where it's just a hotel where you can make love and other things. I'm not going into specific details and what love is in quotation marks, but yeah. But of course, well, Akana says, let's go. This is where she was bringing Issei along until Oda appears, and also, well, what's it called? Also, that person that's kind of like an assistant. Her name is, I don't remember. Yeah, pretty much, I forgot. This is where, well, she's there, and this is where, well, there's also, well, Akana's father says, what are you doing with the Red Crimson Emperor, the Dragon Emperor? This is where, well, Akana says, what do you want? Let me do whatever. I can date whoever I want. She gets angry. This is where Issei is kind of noticing this, and this is where, well, Issei kind of noticed, what's it called, how Akana kind of feels about her kind of father. Not truly, but he has some problems with his parents also. This is where, well, they are actually going back to the house, and this is where, well, Issei is, well, in his bedroom until Akana appears, saying, Issei, I want you. She said in a very, like, husky, well, not husky. Yeah. Is that husky? Yeah, husky? No, not that. A very lustful tone. This is where Issei says, wait. Akana, we can talk about this. This is where Akana says, no. This is where Issei says, okay, please, for the love of God, listen to me first. This is where, well, Issei right now has, well, a blanket over his eyes, so of course, this is where he's, like, stopping from anyone to see his eyes. This is where, well, she says, fine, what do you want? This is where Issei said, I wonder if this will work. This is where he will use his, like, you know, that perverted thing in original canon, but instead of being perverted, he adds his own energy. Curse, manipulation, feelings of the past. This is where, well, Issei only figured out about cursed energy since the fact that he was actually able to use it. This is where, well, he can also do other things, but this is where, well, he makes Akana kind of remembers her past and how she loved her father and other things, and this is where Akana says, I see. This is where she kind of leaves and kind of goes make food, and of course makes food for her father and all that. This is where, well, Issei says, that was close. That was very close. My eyes. Those memories. This is where, well, Issei, he looks at his hand for a second, and this is where, well, someone busts through his room saying, Issei! This is where, well, Issei accidentally touched himself near his heart, but with his hand kind of glowing with energy, and this is where he kind of stops it, and this is where his eyes are still closed, and this is where, well, mostly who kind of bust through it was kind of, well, what's it called, this is where, well, Kaneko says, yeah, there's food ready. This is where, well, Issei says, yeah, I'll be there. This is where Kaneko says, okay, whatever you're doing with your hand, you can do it later. This is where Issei says, oh, sorry. This is where he puts his hand behind him, but yeah. This is where, well, kind of goes, he just walks away, but yeah. This is where she was kind of blushing, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei kind of, when he accidentally used that technique, he kind of wanted to, well, he didn't use it technically, but of course, where, Issei says, it should be going then. This is where, well, Issei kind of goes to, well, get food, but yeah, of course that happens, and this is where Issei goes to sleep in his room. This is where, well, Issei is right now sleeping, and this is where, well, we go into his dreams. It's not perverted right now, instead, what he's kind of remembering is a distant past memory. Issei at this time was actually 6. Well, not 6. Mostly, yeah, he was 7, I'm gonna say. Yeah, 7. He was 7 years old at this time. While, well, 2 older people were kind of talking to him. One looked like he was already kind of like 17, 18. The other was like 16, 15. And then the youngest was kind of like 5 to 4. But of course, they were all kind of talking with Issei, and Issei was kind of having fun with these people. Mostly it was just a distant memories. And of course, Issei then, after having fun for a little bit, it just goes into horrifying news. This is where, well, Issei kind of heard of this news the first time he saw the accident, or was it an accident, or was it caused for some reason. This is where, when Issei saw his older brother's dead body, it was the 18 to 7, well, mostly the 17-year-old, the 18 to 17-year-old. He was this guy with whitish hair, muscular build, and of course, didn't really have the nicest face. He was always angry and annoyed with people, but always had time to be friendly with his little brother, once Issei and his other siblings. But of course, always had this very angry look. When Issei saw his older brother's look, he was dead angry, very angry, but he was dead. This is where Issei saw his lifeless eyes, but they were angry still. Of course, where he had a hole through his like chest, or not his chest, mostly a hole through his like stomach. This is where he looked like he was trying to fight against something. Issei was so confused at that time. He was only 7. This is where, well, something else happens. This is where another distant memory appears. This is where this time it's his second brother. This is where his second brother had a hole through his chest. But of course still had this, well, not a hole through his chest, no. This second brother, he turned 17, and of course, this is where, well, Issei was kind of 7 now. This is where, well, or not 7, he was 8. Well, not 8, he was still 7, but it happened a couple other months later. This is where the next brother, who was kind of the younger brother from the oldest, of course, he had palish white skin, and of course, well, yellow eyes and white hair. But there was one thing causing this problem. The fact that it was actually, well, a disease that was actually killing him. He never smiled, looked happy or anything to anyone. But of course, he died still with an emotionless look. He did kind of seem friendly and nice towards, well, Issei and his smaller brother, but yeah. Issei was kind of saddened and just distraught from both of his older brothers dying. That's where the last very thing he didn't want to ever wanted to, well, kind of, well, remember was, well, not remember. He wanted to remember, but at the same time not remember. The last one was his youngest brother. His youngest brother became 5 and he was becoming 8. This is where, well, a very tragic kind of accident happened, or purposely. Issei didn't know yet. But of course, what happened was, well, his younger brother, his name was Lauren, or not Lauren, Lorenzo. His name was LaRue, and of course, he was the younger brother of Issei. That's where, well, LaRue kind of smiles always at Issei, and of course, where LaRue, he had this odd, well, kind of ability around him. He was able to, well, be able to be very calm and let flowing nature always guide him. That's where, well, always that flowing nature got him into good things, good luck and other things. This is where, well, the other two older brothers, One had an angry look, but was really good at using a sword. And the other one had this very motionless look, but also was very good at using a sword. This is where they had these kind of auras. One was always angry and raging, while the other one was very silent and emotionless. The youngest was always this kind of flowing, kind of calm one. Of course, this is where when Issei kind of found out about his younger brother actually died from getting, well, hit by a car. Of course, it worked well. His flowing technique was actually about to, like, stop it, but something stopped him from actually being able to use it. Like if there was limits upon him. This worked well. He got hit by the car and he was dead. The next thing, when mostly Issei and his parents got found out from that news. Issei saw all three of his brothers dead. He cried for so many days. Every single day it wasn't something that he just didn't want to do. He hated everything. That's where, well, Issei then woke up. Right now, all sweating so much, very panting also. This is where when he looks around, there's no one right now like laying next to him. This is where he's actually happy, but saddened a little bit at the same time. Because when he remembers all his older brothers kind of usually laying next to him and also laying next to his younger brother. That's where, well, now he just feels very saddened, like a hole appears into his heart. Like something that was there always. Such an empty void. That's where Issei says. This is where, well, he's breathing really hard. Of course, where Issei kind of gets up and decides to look at, well, the mirror for a second. That's where his eyes are glowing bright in the night sky, almost in the dark. But one thing is for sure, his hair, it changed from just normal brown hair to white and black mixed together. Well, not mixed, mostly like instead of like mixing both colors, mostly like white highlights and black highlights around his hair. This is where he's shocked to believe that. One thing's for sure, that's not supposed to happen. All his brother had white hair, purely white hair, all of them. Why does he have black? But no, that doesn't make sense. He had brown in the beginning. Why did he just turn white? All his brothers were born white hair. His just finally just decided to just appear. What the fuck is happening? He thinks in his head. Of course, well, he then kind of just gets up, puts on some shoes, and kind of just gets ready. Mostly, it's still kind of like 3 a.m. in the morning and all that, but he just puts on a coat and like black pants and other things, and decides to open his door and just kind of look around. He sees no one awake. Yes, it's 3 a.m. in the morning, everyone's asleep. That's where Issei starts walking out of the house. But something stops him. Someone stops him. Well, not really someone stops him. Well, yeah, someone did stop him. It was mostly Azel. Azel says, "Where are you going this early in the morning, Issei?" Issei says, "Somewhere." Somewhere indeed. This is where Azel says, "You haven't been acting your similar same ever since, well, that fight after Loki. You cover up your eyes, and now your hair is mixture with white highlights and black. So tell me, Issei, is there nothing wrong with you?" "No. Just go to sleep and leave me alone." This is where, well, Issei kind of just goes to the door, opens it, and just walks out. This is where Azel kind of narrows his eyes and says, interesting. Now, the reason why Issei was there was kind of just to make sure that the, what's it called, kids didn't die in the middle of the night with whatever Chaos Patrol or anything like that. But of course, seeing Issei kind of wake up in the middle of the night and decide to leave is kind of confusing for him. And of course, what's more confusing was his hair changing. This is where Issei, he gets towards, what's it called, the forest, and just looks at, what's it called, a lake, a little lake that was actually there. That's where, well, he looks into the, what's it called, water. He sees the water flowing down such gently, reminding him way too much of his younger brother. That's where he looks at the night, mostly at the moon. The moon so endlessly, so emptiness and cold, reminding him of his second oldest brother. That's where, well, the rage that he's feeling reminds him also so much of his what's it called oldest brother. This is where he doesn't know what to do. This is where he gets so angry that he just releases this red ball from his finger. This is where not a red ball, mostly this red ball from his hand. Let's see, fucking. This is where he's so angry that he doesn't know what to call it. And of course, he doesn't really care about what calling it. Instead, he just launches it to multiple trees. The thing explodes everything that was in front of Issei for miles away. This is where Issei looks up and sees that he caused that much destruction with one attack. That's where Issei says, damn it, damn it, damn it, I'm sorry. Issei starts crying, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. This is where, Issei just keeps crying in anger and frustration. This is where, Issei says, if I could have woken my powers, I would have made sure that none of you would have been dead. It's all my fault. Why does my powers have to awaken now? Why couldn't they awaken when you guys were alive still? Why? This is where Issei punches the ground in frustration and anger. This is where, he didn't notice this, but he didn't technically punch the ground. It was something kind of stopping him from punching the ground. Like something decides to activate in Issei to make sure to stop to punch the ground. He didn't punch it. He still punched the ground, but it wasn't his fist that connected, but instead the limitless around him. That's where he's just so angry, so frustrated, so annoyed with how his powers just decided to fucking activate it right now. Right out of all the damn times. He could have made sure that his brothers didn't die, but yet he's here, alive. And that just pisses him off so much. This is where, he says, damn it. If only you three was here. Damn it. It's my fault. It's always my fault. This is where Issei is so pissed and annoyed. This is where we go into the next day. Issei just wakes up, opens his eyes, and sees this kind of small dog appear. This is where the dog just kind of bark at him. Now, one thing that's shocking is this dog doesn't have one head, but 3 heads entirely. This is where it's like a wolf, but has 3 heads. This is where Issei says, hey little puppy. This is where Issei kind of pats the dog. This is where a bark goes, This is where, it kind of just makes this comfortable sound and other things. Like he enjoys being next to Issei. This is where, Issei kind of just closes his eyes back again. This is where the dog looks confused until the dog decides to kind of go off and just kind of come back and brought food, mostly for his owner, or kind of his owner. This dog has what's it called whitish, very snowy white fur. Of course, where it has very crystallized blue eyes. But of course, not as crystal as what's it called Issei's are. Of course, it comes back with food like a deer, and he's dragging it. This is where it's dragging it with 3 of his heads. Once you bite into it, it starts kind of just pushing it or pulling it towards Issei. But yeah. This is where, that was the most shocking thing to ever seen. When Issei opened his eyes, he saw that. This is where, Issei gets up and sees the dog kind of just bark 3 times, or mostly not 3 times, 9 times in total, towards, Issei. It was mostly 3 times in each head, but yeah. This is where, Issei says, what a good dog you are. He then pats all 3 of its heads. This is where the dog is happy, right now wagging his tail, but yeah. Wagging its kind of 2 tails, but yeah. Issei kind of finds out what it actually is. When he kind of looks at the 3-headed dog, it kind of reminds him of the thing that he fought a while ago, when he fought against Cocoa Bean. Now, I know Cocoa Bean isn't his original name, but I'm just going to call him Cocoa Bean, because that's the only thing I can remember. Other than fried chicken, but yeah. But of course, Cocoa Bean was able to summon these kind of 3-headed dogs that were called Cerberus. Mostly these dogs that actually are near the underworld, mostly from Hades. This is where, mostly they have fire in their mouth and reddish eyes and black fur. This one that he's looking at has 3 heads, 2 tails, of course, bluish eyes and white fur. He doesn't know if this is the same thing or just different. He then look at with his blue eyes. It's still, well, Cerberus. It's just mutate a little bit, but yeah. It's where, well, he decides to take it home because what's the worst thing that can happen? Issei kind of picks it up. This is where he looks at the deer and thinks in his head, well, first of all, I can't actually eat that because it's raw. And for some reason, this is where, well, he looks at the Cerberus, and this is where the Cerberus kind of sends blue flames from his mouth. This is where Issei kind of says, holy shit, it can actually throw fire from his mouth? You know, I'm going to keep you. What to call you? Issei's trying to think in his head, but yeah. This is where Issei says, what to call you? I know what to call you. This is where, well, he calls it first. He was thinking, what to call you? Shoroi Hono. Does that make sense? This is where, well, the dog kind of wags its two tails, and this is where Issei says, I'm gonna love you so much. This is where, well, Issei hugs it, but yeah. This is where Issei kind of like picks up the, what's it called? Mostly the deer meat, and it's easily peeling off. This is where he eats it, and it's actually pretty good. This is where he kind of gives them to the dog, but yeah. This is where, well, he is kind of stuffed now. This is where he says, well, let's go, Shoroi Hono. This is where Shoroi Hono kind of just jumps and barks and kind of follows Issei. This is where, well, we go into mostly the others. The others wakes up, and of course, where, well, they notice that Issei isn't in his room. This is where they're kind of screaming. Well, not screaming. Mostly they're kind of running around. Maybe Issei kind of accidentally slept in some of the other rooms, and no. It's where Azel says, what is all this noise? This is where, well, Ria says, Azel, what are you doing here? That's kind of creepy. This is where, well, Azel says, oh my god, I'm just here to protect you brats. But not the point. If you're looking for Issei left like when it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what he went to do. But yeah. That's where, well, Issei has his blindfold. Mostly he kind of like got a blindfold and put it onto his eyes. And of course, where, well, he's kind of bringing what's it called, Shoroi Hono back to his house. This is where he say, come on, Shoroi Hono. This is where the dog just jumps and barks and just kind of loves being with Issei. But yeah, Issei's aura is kind of friendly, but has a very negative side. This is where, well, Issei brings the dog back. And this is where, well, he also got followed by another animal through the woods. Well, mostly through the woods. And this animal is a... So, a couple of things actually follow Issei, because Issei kind of had this weird energy that kind of made a bunch of animals that kind of follow him. First, it was the three-headed dog that he kind of named Shoroi Hono. Well, yeah, Hono. And of course, this is where another thing actually follows him. It was a small wolf that didn't look normal. First of all, it had a very, like, white, but kind of like this lightish tintish blue to it. And of course, where it had blue eyes, but it had wings. And this is where Issei says, okay. This is where the next thing that actually follows him was a, well, fox. Not just any normal fox. It had 9 tails. This is where Issei says, what? This is where the third thing that followed him, also almost the fourth thing, was a rabbit. And if you think it was normal, it is not normal. So this is how the ice wolf looks like. This is how the 9 tails looks like. So this is what this other animal looks like. It's a rabbit with kind of horns and wings and other things. And his name is Whopperdinger. Also, this is where the fifth thing kind of follows him, was a cat with blue flames usually appearing around it. But yeah. So the last thing that Issei kind of got followed by was an owl that kind of looked like this, but yeah. Well, all of the animals that I showed you were all kind of small, so of course it just follows Issei. And this is where Issei says, can I really take all of you home? Yeah, fuck it, let's go. This is where all of them just follows Issei. And of course, this is where Issei is kind of getting back home, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, everyone is kind of just shocked, horrified, and where Issei is at, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into Issei coming home. This is where Issei kind of just brings them along and doesn't know where to actually put them at. So, of course, he uses one of the spare rooms to kind of put all the animals in. And this is where, well, he says, okay, all of you stay here. Or come along. This is where Issei, he's right now in the house and not really caring about going to school, but yeah. This is where, well, he looked at his phone just to check if he got any calls, and his phone is dead. Yeah. Oops. Issei says, I should have probably charged it. He charges it, and of course, this is where it will. When Azo kind of got home and all that, or mostly not home, mostly when, what's it called, Azo was at the house, or not Azo, what's it called, what was her name? That whitish hair girl who kind of got left behind by Oda most of the time, but yeah. This is where she says, I'm so sad. This is where, well, she said, why did that creepy old man have to leave me here? This is where, well, well, small dog that had wings decided to kind of fly on top of her head, and she said, oh, it's just this white wolf with wings. She's right now still crying, but yeah. This is where, well, Issei kind of apparently even noticed her, and of course just ignored her entirely. This is where, well, he kind of got food for all the animals, and this is where all the animals are just kind of eating. This is where Issei kind of just sits on the chair and kind of says, so, why are you here? This is where the person's name is, well, her name is Ross Weiss, and when Rice Weiss looks up, she says, because that damn old man left me here. She's crying. This is where Issei says, okay. Which one? This is where she says, that Oda. This is where, well, he says it's okay. Can you please not cry on the couch where my other animals are just sitting by? This is where she says, okay, fine. This is where, well, she kind of like scoots away from Issei, but yeah. This is where Issei says, well, mostly he looks all at the animals, just checking if any of them kind of have any like viruses or anything, or just disease in their body. And mostly using his 6 eyes, he can easily look for anything. This is where he checks that all of them are actually clean, and also kind of realized that all of them are actually mythical animals. This is where he doesn't really care about being mythical animals, they just look so adorable to him. This is where, well, he actually keeps them. And it kind of feels a little bit of the emptiness that he has in his heart. This is where, well, he says, I wonder if mom would like them, or dad. I don't care. This is where Issei doesn't really care that much, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into the end of the day, and of course all the girls got back, and this is where, well, and also Kiba just there. Kiba says, so, where would Issei be? This is where something flies past him like an owl, and this is where the owl kind of just lands on what they call Kiba's head. This is where, well, Gasper says, whoa, that's an owl. This is where the owl goes, or whatever it kind of makes. This is where Ryu says, why is there an owl here? This is where, well, something also kind of just flies around, what's it called, Rios and the others. And this is where, well, the thing kind of lands down and kind of just bark. This is where, well, Rios and the others realize that this is a wolf with wings. And of course, it's kind of freezing the ground. This is where Akana says, that's interesting. This is where a cat is kind of saying meow towards, what's it called? Mostly saying meow to Koneko, and Koneko says, that's a cat, but with bluish flames around it. Why is that the thing? This is where all of them are so confused, just seeing these animals. This is where, well, a 3-headed dog just barks and just kind of runs around. This is where, well, they say, why is there so many animals here? This is where, well, Issei kind of gets out of from the, what's it called, out of his room, and says, hey, all of you, get over here. This is where all the animals kind of rushes towards Issei and like sits like right in front of him. And this is where Issei kind of like puts his arm out. And this is where, well, the owl lands on his arm. This is where he says, good, we're all here. Now, it's almost time to kind of go to sleep, so I need you to all go to the room. This is where all of them nodded, and this is where all of them kind of just runs off, even the owl. This is where, well, Issei says, oh, that's done with. This is where Issei kind of like looks to the side and says, well, mostly sees Rios, and this is where Rios and the others kind of burning. First of all, they're all shocked with the animals kind of just listening to Ias, and then third of, well, mostly the second of all, is his hair changes completely. No longer brown, but instead white and black. This is where Issei says, hey guys, what are you looking at? This is where also he has a blindfold. This is where, well, they all look at him like he's fucking crazy. Azo finally got home and says, why is there mythical animals here? This is where, well, he kind of tried to go into his room and realized that a bunch of mythical animals are there, and he's just confused. Is it where, well, Issei say, oh, you realize that all my, what's it called, pets are over there. Yeah, I decided to take over your room and said, screw it, you can sleep somewhere else. This is where, well, as I say, okay. First of all, kid, why do you have so many mythical animals here? Second of all, why they're in my room? Like I said, you can go sleep somewhere else. I'm gonna, also, son of a, okay, first of all, where do you get them? Near a forest. Okay, that doesn't explain anything at all. How are they listening to you? Don't know. They just listen to me. Probably I'm just that amazing. This is where, well, Azel says, okay, there's no way they're this friendly. This is where an owl lands on top of with a car as a head and just pecks him in the head. This is where, well, as I say, ow, you little chicken, I'm going to cook you. This is where the owl runs away, and this is where, well, the other animals gets on guard, just and ready to use her mostly magic. But yeah, this is where, as I say, oh my god, they're guarding my room. This is where, well, Issei says, don't worry, Azel, your stuff is somewhere else around the house. I don't know where I put them. Well, other than that, I'm going to sleep. This is where Issei was about to go to sleep until Rias kind of says, Issei. This is where Issei says, yeah? Why weren't you in school? Issei says, oh shit, I forgot. Don't worry, I'll come to school tomorrow. This is where Issei, he kind of just locks his room, mostly locks his door. And of course, this is where, well, Issei says, yeah, I'll come back to school, don't worry. I'm not gonna do anything stupid. This is where, well, Azel sighs and says, god damn it. First I'm living with these goddamn brats that hair changes, eyes aren't shown, and now he has mythical animals living with us. God damn it. This is where, well, when Akana kind of goes near the room to see the mythical animals, that's where she sees the rabbit that's kind of flying. This is where, well, she says, those are very interesting animals. What kind of animals are those? Azel says, okay, do you see the one with 3 heads? And this is where, well, Akana says, yeah, it kind of reminds me of the ones that Hades has. Yes, it looks like that one is a mutated one from Hades. What's it called? Dogs. Those are called Serals. But of course, since that one's mutated, I don't know what it's called. This is where, well, Issei says, Shoroi Ahono. This is where, well, Shoroi Ahono barks. This is where, well, as I said, okay, we're gonna have to call it White Flames. Why is Issei like this? This is where, well, Issei is because I can. Now leave me alone. I'm going to sleep. Also, my room is locked, so don't think of like coming in. This is where, well, they're all just shocked to believe Issei would have locked this room, but yeah, this is where they all think he's probably there, kind of like getting his, what's it called, just beating the turkey. I mean, beating the chicken. Okay. I'm not saying what I'm gonna say, but yeah. But of course, this is where, well, they're all thinking he's doing that, but this is where Issei is actually sleeping. This is where, well, Issei wakes up, of course, towards the calm. They hear of some noises, and this is where, well, mostly it was kind of cool, kind of like putting this. This is where she found something in Issei's room when Issei wasn't there. This is where, well, they kind of started playing, and of course, what they see is what's it called 4 like people in the videos. This is where, well, they see what's it called Issei's parents, like they have brown hair, and yeah. This is where, well, there was 4 people there. There was one person that looked like he was 17, another that looked like he was 16, another that actually was it called 7, and the other was actually 5, or no, yeah, 4 entirely. This is where, well, they're all kind of laughing, but yeah, or not 4 or 5, they were laughing, and this is where, well, they're kind of just smiling and laughing. This is where, well, Issei's parents look so happy. This is where, well, all of them look to be happy. One had this kind of like whitish hair. Well, all of them had whitish hair, except for one of them had brown hair. That's where Issei hears this. He hears the laughter, the giggle, and other things. And of course, he knows those laughter noises. This is where, well, in the video it says Oni-san. This is where he kind of says Oni-san to one person and another person, and then kind of just asks his little brother hello and other things. And this is where Issei says no. This is where Issei kind of checked under his bed and realized that that box was gone. This is where Issei is angry and annoyed. This is where, well, Issei gets out, and this is where, well, Issei, he doesn't show his crystal-like blue eyes, but of course seems to be annoyed. This is where Konako says, "Hey, Issei." Issei kind of walks towards the TV. He takes out something that was kind of like playing and all that. He takes like this kind of tape recorder and other things, and then takes a box that has 3 pictures. Takes one from Kiba, takes one from Gasper, and takes the last one from, well, Rias. This is where he puts it on the box, and this is where he disappears, like he teleports. This is where, well, all of them widen their eyes and just confusement. This is where Konako says, "Okay, so yeah, I got that box from Issei's room. Don't know." This is where, well, as I'll say, did he have brothers? That's confusing because, well, if that was the case, then shouldn't his parents be having all that? Yeah. Who has his parents' phone number? All of them kind of think about. As I says, I can probably get it from the fucking school, whatever. The next day happens, and of course, Issei isn't in his, well, mostly in the house or anything. He's mostly outside in the forest. Right now, looking at the DVD and the, what's it called, photos. It has his brother, his other brother, and his younger brother. But yeah, this is where, well, he sighs. Just deeply sighs. This is where, well, when Azo managed to contact with the cop, Issei's parents, this is where, well, they ask Issei, well, mostly before what's called Azo keeps looking around for Issei's information about his brothers and all that, and trying to get contact with what's it called. Issei's parents, he kind of saw the number 32. 32 on a record of medical problems, or not medical problems, just medical and problems and other things. This is where, well, he saw the number 32, and saw it was way too big. And what was that 32 for? How many times he tries to do blank. This is where, well, he was actually winding his eyes in shock. But of course, managed to get up some medical information for 3 other people that were actually dead already. This is where, well, he was confused with shock. But of course, when he managed to contact, well, what's it called, Issei's parents, he managed to figure out a little bit of, well, Issei entirely. His mental kind of stability isn't entirely there. This is where, well, he realized that, well, the pervertedness nature that Issei has is nothing but an illusion to get rid of the, what's it called, sadness from his heart. He kind of contact with his parents, and of course, Issei's parents kind of told Azo about some things that are private, and they usually don't actually talk about it. And the reason why there's burning any pictures of the 3 other boys that, well, of Issei's brothers, is because they don't want Issei to kind of look at the pictures and think it was all his fault, making him believe that he should just give up in life. This is where, well, Azo then nodded and think, well, what's it called? Well, Issei's parents. Issei's parents tried to ask why they, well, mostly got a call from that. This is where they were worried until Azo kind of not worried them much about anything. He just says, oh, it was just a little thing on the, what's it called, paper. So, I'm guessing that 32 is, yes. This is where, well, Issei's mother said. This is where, in a quiet, very saddened tone, I see. This is where he hangs up, and this is where he kind of says, okay, thank you, and hangs up. This is where, well, he seems to have a grimace look to his, well, mostly look. He then sighs and then had to call Rias and the others to kind of mostly check if Issei is back home. This is where they say no, and this is where Rias says, so what's happening? Something very important that should probably stop Issei from doing. Now Issei has met with a call. Mostly he was walking around, and of course where, well, Issei kind of noticed someone behind him, and it was none other than what's called Konako's sister. That's where, well, Issei says, what do you want? That's where Konako's sister says, oh, what we want is, well, or what I want is my sister. So either give her back, or I will. This is where Issei appears right in front of her with his hands pointed to her head, and this is where Issei says, leave me the fuck alone, in a very cold and murderous voice. Without any emotions, his eyes, you couldn't really see them, but it showed to very cold as hell. This is where Kunoko's sister was right now frightened, just widening her eyes. She could easily be killed. This is the speed of no way for Red Emperor dragging the same boy. This is where she remembers that battle, but completely didn't care that much. This is where, well, Valen says, you know, you shouldn't really be attacking a girl like that. Issei says, what do you want? This is where, well, Valen says, I just came here to warn you about one of the demons. This is where Issei remembers that, because he kind of was walking with, what's it called, Asui to, what's it called, back to the house and other things, and of course met that guy. Issei says, I'm guessing that he's evil and he's part of your damn alliance. This is where, well, and Valen says, you're pretty smart there, Red Dragon Emperor. Or sure, well, this is where the monkey says, how would you say he's a Red Emperor Dragon? And how can you even tell that's him? His hair changed, unless he dyed it, but Jesus Christ, the pattern on his hair sure doesn't look like he dyes it. This is where Valen says, I can still tell. He does have Drake with him. Drake says, well, I am here, but... This is where, well, before he even says anything, this is where he was turned off in an instant by Issei, forcibly, so he wouldn't be able to talk. This is where Issei says, go away then. If that's all you came, I suggest you go away. This is where, well, Valen says, why are you training? This is where, well, Issei makes this red ball appear in his hand, and kind of points it at Valen and the others. That's where Issei says, no, none of your damn concern. This is where, well, the red ball kind of explodes, and this is where Valen and the others had to jump into a portal before they were actually annihilated. This is where, well, Drake says, was that really necessary? You know, they could have caused an accident, war, or kill other people. Issei, are you even listening to me? This is where, well, Issei is right now not fully there. Not really at all. This is where when Valen and the others managed to get back, mostly back before with the portal and all that, they saw, yeah, there was a lot of destruction. Even that small ball did so much destruction. It entirely wasn't Drake's power, but something else more powerful than normal. This is where, well, Issei kind of got a call from Rias to kind of come back home and then kind of get ready because, well, they're going to kind of go into a raiding game. That's where Issei nodded. This is where, well, Issei gets back home, and this is where Issei kind of gets questioned by Rias a little bit. Of course, there's a raiding game tomorrow, but Issei kind of looks at her, saying, everything's fine. There's nothing wrong. This is where, well, Azo doesn't know if he should tell the kids about this to make worry of the, what's it called, raiding games that are possible coming, or betrayment mostly. This is where, well, they kind of go in the next day to the raiding games, and of course everyone is there, and of course the where, well, Asui still gets captured and taken, and this is where Issei wasn't fully there to understand what happened. Of course, where when they go through that whole kind of like fight and other things, Issei was fighting against all the females, and this is where Rias did tell him to do the pervert thing, but this is where Issei didn't listen. Instead, this is where a red ball appears in his hand. That's where he launches it at all the people and blasts them straight to hell. That's where Issei says, get out of my way, you pathetic weaklings. This is where Konako, Gasper, and what's it called? Well, I think Zinnia was there. Was that Zinnia? No, I think it was just a gas. Yeah, Zinnia was there. This is where, well, right. Yeah, Zinnia was there, and she was just wondering what was it called, Issei's power. This is where Issei didn't seem to flinch when he did that. He didn't even use the Red Dragon Emperor's ability. That was the most confusing ability ever. This is where, well, he then sees the battle, and this is where, well, Konako does ask Issei to kind of say all this. This is where, well, Issei doesn't really say it, but this is where Konako kind of managed to contact what's it called, the president and Akana, and says that Issei seems to be a little blushing and embarrassed and other things, but of course he says that if one of you win, one of you might be able to go on a date with him. This is where, well, they kind of actually start fighting and putting a lot of power there, but yeah. Konako had it to lie, but it was well worth it if we're gonna have to save Asia. This is where, well, when they get towards Asia and mostly sees, what's it called, that one guy, this is where the guy says, huh, guess what? None of you will be able to stop me. This is where he goes. This is where he rambles on, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, he rambles on with a lot of things, and this is where he says, so, do you think you'd be able to stop me, huh? This is where, well, Issei says blue. This is where he kind of brings the guy towards him. This is where Issei grabs him from the face and smashes him down to the ground, knocking him out in an instant. This is where Asia says, Issei. Rias and the others were confused with that technique, but this is where when Issei gets towards, what's it called, Asia, Issei kind of tries to, like, open, what's it called, mostly kind of bring her out. And this is where, well, mostly break the kind of, like, things that were restraining her. And this is where, oh, wait. This is where, well, Asia says, I'm sorry, Issei. It seems that I might. This is where, well, Issei, he easily destroys the things by just, like, putting a little bit of force. But yeah, he still hasn't used his Red Dragon Emperor ability. This is where, well, Issei says, are you fine? This is where he said it in a very, tried to be cheerful tone, but there was still a little bit of coldness in his, hidden under the cheerful. Also say yes, and this is where the guy says, how? No, that's complete bullshit. This is where, well, Issei kind of says, yeah. This is where, well, that double king, well, not double king, mostly they have descendant of Bezel up here. And of course, where, well, he destroys Asia, mostly teleporting somewhere else. And this is where Issei saw this. He was nothing but in fucking rage. He exploded out of frustration and anger. The last bit of mostly hope in protecting, well, Asia, or someone that he actually treasures to be like a sister to him, kind of just disappears. This is where he snaps. He doesn't go, Asia, where are you, and other things like original canon. No, his energy exploded. His power exploded. Everything exploded around him. This is where the Bezeltas and they said, what the hell is that? This is where Ria said, Issei? This is where Issei takes off his blindfold out of pure fucking rage and anger. This is where his eyes were bluish color, but then changes to a purplish color. This is where 6 wings entirely spreads out from his back. One red, and then another one that looks kind of bony and just white. The other side, it was blue. And the last, well, it was 4 wings entirely. And the last one looks to be kind of like black, but has this like void texture to it. This is where, he says, you're dead. This is where he said it in such a dead voice. This is where, well, Issei didn't hesitate in activating already all the powers and abilities from his actual previous brothers. This is where his eyes were nothing but burning in rage and now dead. This is where Issei says, copy, manipulation, ice spears. This is where ice spears appears around the descendant of Bezel. And Bezel say, wait, what? But this is where I'm going to leave it off, since my throat is starting to hurt a lot. Now, other than that, bye-bye, potato. Oh, wait, not potato. What am I talking about? Yeah, goodbye, chuckle fucks. And other than that, yeah, my throat hurts. Bye.